days out from Christmas. Hope you're a bit more prepared than me, because I am absolutely papping myself. I'm feeling a little bit better today. I've had like the entire weekend in bed. Had me COVID test. I am negative, so evidently I'm just a big suck with a cold, but I am feeling more human. So thank you very much for joining me. If you are new around here, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. It does mean the world to me. We've hit over 1,800, which is absolutely phenomenal. I am trying to smash to 2,000 if I can before the season starts, which would be sick. If you are a returning Pommyinoz, though, welcome to you. It's great to have you. These legends here, supreme legends, supreme. They're not just Pommynozers, they're legends in Oz. Need to work on that, don't I? But these guys have supported the channel. As you know, we are proudly sponsoring Dom Akui. So if you are wanting to get involved in that, that would be grouse. We're also giving away one of these bad boys. We've got Charlie here. We've got JSOS as well. It'll be winner's choice. So please, all you've got to do to enter that is just like and comment and send a message in the chat. That'd be grouse. If you do want to buy them, though, these little sexy things, look at them. Pommyinozsportsalmanac.com.au, pommysportsalmanac.com.au, sorry, for all your print needs. We've got movies there. We've got all sorts. It's a really good little place. So thank you very much for that. So what we're going to talk about today is we've got the pre-season fixtures. Now, for me, pre-season is the most important part of the year. And I think for years, Carlton haven't done it right. When I watch pre-season and I look at the top teams, they do it a little bit differently. And I'm never a fan. I always think Carlton are maybe not revealing too much, but you see they play really good football really early on in the pre-season, particularly because they're going hard. Where you look at the top teams, they kind of feed their way into it. You can see they're asking the questions. What's the setup like? What does my form? What's the makeup of my forward line? My makeup of the midfield? They're trying new things. They're kind of leaving a little bit to the desire. So let's talk about the fixtures first and foremost. So the first game is, and I love this game in pre-season. So the AFL have announced there will be a scratch match. They're calling it last weekends of February, the last couple of weekends. Hopefully it'll be available to the public. That would be sick. I'd love to get down there and do what we always do with Blue Abroad and try and get some heat maps and some intel. But we are playing St Kilda. Now, it'll be up to the teams. It could be 22 aside. It could be 40 aside, rolling subs, all that malarkey. We saw it last year, a couple of years ago with Collingwood, where they just basically played a quarter pure of stoppages. It was 6 quarters, which never made any sense, because can you have 6 quarters? You've got to have 4 quarters, haven't you, to make a whole? So we'll call it 6/6. That sounds so weird. So it will be hard to analyse, but I really like this one. And I'll tell you for why. I know the club are trying to downplay finals and all that stuff. That's what good clubs do. Good clubs don't build a massive bit of pressure before the season gets going. But St Kilda are a side that I would say Carlton will want to be looking at and saying, you know what, we got to beat these guys. Do you know what I mean? We have to beat these guys. And for me, why I say that is I look at St Kilda and I think they are an in and around finals side. They finished just 1 game out of finals. They were 2 games ahead of us last year. So regardless of if we're a final side or not, you're looking at marginal improvement, I think, year on year. That's a sign of a good side. And especially where we are, because we're young. We're relatively young. If you look at Carlton and you stack them up versus, you know, the next best, Carlton's average age is what? We are the 11th oldest side in the competition. Average of 24.2 in our system. We're 14th in games as well. So we're bottom 4 for that. So what Carlton are going to be looking at is St Kilda. They're 6th in games and 6th in age. So they're a little bit ahead of us. So Carlton will really want to be looking at St Kilda and say, these are the team that we beat. These are the team that we beat. And if we beat these sides, statistically, your age is kind of almost the 8. Usually the top 8 is made out of the top 12. So let that sink in. So Carlton will be looking at this and saying, if we can see how we stack up against these sides. I'm not talking about result, just seeing how they physically stack up. Fitness-wise, are they blowing before these guys? They don't want to be. They're younger. They need to be more preener and sharp. And if there is, they know they've got 2 weeks to sort it out. But I really like this fixture because I think when I look at St Kilda and Carlton, I see 2 teams that are really lacking consistency. St Kilda, when they play brilliant football, we saw it a couple of years ago, they make the 8. Then we saw last year, when the wheels fall off, there is no plan B. Plan B is come up with a better plan A. So this is a really good little core game for Carlton. I'm really excited about this one. This is where they stack up. Their midfield is lit. I love St Kilda's midfield. It works really hard. Steele, for me, is one of the best in the business. Very underrated. It's a really good little cobweb blower, and it's a good way for where Carlton stack up. Then, the week after, March the 3rd, at Marvel, we open pre-season. It's the AAMI Community Series, is it now? That has more names, I tell you, than Prince.com. But Carlton get Melbourne at Marvel. Now, I really like this game because, for me, if I was a coach and you said to me, right, Dan, you've got to pick 2 games in pre-season, I'd pick one middle of the table side. I'd have maybe a St Kilda, maybe someone like Fremantle, maybe someone like the Eagles last year. Essendon would be a dream as well, and say, look, we're going to see where we stack up, where we think we need to finish, because you've got to beat the mid-table sides. That is like the core ethos. If you want to make the 8, you've got to knock out the sides around you. Then I'd want to play the champions. I'd say, look, I want to see where we stack up at the start of the year, because these guys know what it takes. So for me, Melbourne in pre-season will be at pinnacle. They'll be at pinnacle because they're high. They know what it takes. They know what they did last year. And a good side will know that you do what you did last year and you do it a bit better. Do it a bit better. I'm itching for this one because for me, Melbourne's list is everything that if I was a Carlton fan, well, I am a Carlton fan. If I was a Melbourne fan, I'd froth because it's right mid-table for games. It's right mid-table for age. It's in that key position. It's basically 2 years where Carlton should be with natural growth. Now, for our boys, this is a great test because we're seeing what it is where we want to be. Melbourne are everything we want to be at the moment. Now, forget, when we talk about that, I don't want anyone in the comments going, oh, we've won 16 flags. No one cares. No one cares, fam. No one cares because it was 95. So it's irrelevant. For me, sport is done in cycles of 2 years. It's what you're doing 2 years ago, max, to what you can do in 2 years. It's that 4-year window. Anything outside of that and anything preceding that is totally irrelevant. It's all about the here and now and things we can influence and things we can learn from. Melbourne are ahead. Melbourne have had that into the 8, little dip out, readjust, smashing it, playing a great brand of football. For me, the best brand of football in the AFL. Outside of the doggies, maybe, outside of the doggies. And I think this is literally it for Carlton. Carlton have got to really go into this game and be like, right, we're going in hard, and this is where we stack up. We're going to learn a lot about these boys because I tell you what, it's not about getting a win, it's about running with them. That's where Carlton go wrong in pre-season, I think. They're looking for the result. I'm looking for running with. Can you run with this side? Can you keep up with Melbourne in all their interchanges and all that? And can you stay close? Can you stay competitive? Yeah, the result is important, but here it's the learnings. This is where, you know, when we've had coaches go, oh, you win, you learn. Oh, we got lessons. Bollocks. You do that in pre-season. You don't learn in the season. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't want a surgeon learning on the job, would you, when he's working on your Aunt Flo's brain or something? You'd want him to actually have done that with dummies and mannequins and in the test simulator or whatever they do. So that's where I am. This is our test. This is our pre-season. I'm really excited about this one because Marvel, usually these are real competitive games, but it's about learning. It's about learning. It's about, I think this game will be won when you look at their next best. So you obviously, when you think of them, you're thinking of Gorn, you're thinking of Oliver, you're thinking of Tracker. Here, I'm looking at who's taking out that Ed Langdon. Neil Bullen, he swings into the midfield, he swings up forward. Who's out Neil Bullen? Down the back, Petty, Lever, May works really well. Well, we've got Wheater in, we know he's sorted. How do Kemp and Young fit into that? How does that trio work? Is it Plowman and Young? Is it maybe a combination of McGovern and Kemp? Who knows? But it's about looking at what they do and saying, right, that's their brand. This is what their brand is. This is our brand. We're not copying it, but we need to know how to beat the best. Because if you know how to beat the best brand, your brand is ultimately going to be the next best and then become the best. So I'm really excited about this. So they're the 2 pre-seasons. Let me know. So what I'm looking at, the key takeouts here is our fitness levels. Are we running with them? Number 2, I'm looking at, can these boys stay competitive? Do they look like they're blowing? Are we at the level of fitness? Because that is the main thing at the start of the season. You get some cheap wins in the first 6. Some teams are a bit slower to adapt to shit, we're back at work. And also I'm looking, does our brand stack up? If you remember the last 2 seasons under Teague, the game that we played in the preseason told different style to the game in the real season. So it's something I'm really looking forward to. Let me know in the comments. Can't wait to see you all and share a beer with you. Feel a bit better. So thank you for all your love. And until next time, Pommy out.